Welcome back. We're here once again with Ole Dammegard at the 2014 Bilderberger Conference. Welcome, Ole.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Alfred.
Well, now that the Bilderberger Conference is completed, how would you characterize it?
I'll characterize it as I think it was a major step forward because the way they done up until the year before last, it then absolutely, they denied that the group even existed. They held, it was super secret everything. And this year they gave out the list to the press. I was part of I don't want to call it a documentary, but it was like a 5-10 minute thing on the news where they even interviewed like 5 Danish Bilderbergers asking them what's going on. And sometimes when people answer, I love it, because if you're trying to avoid the truth, it gets into quite interesting areas. And there was this Danish politician who said that I just don't understand why people have a problem with us meeting. I mean, we meet all these very inspiring people from other countries, and it's so nice for once not to have the cameras up your face and having to answer questions, and we're just there to learn so that we can do more for our countries and so on, learn from other people who know better. And I would say, okay, so why the NATO security soldiers, snipers, total secure areas, what's that all about? And
right.
I would also just point out that for a foreign minister, as far as I've been informed, if a foreign minister goes to a different country and meets up with people of other nationalities from security forces, military forces, other politicians, other foreign ministers, without informing the population of their own country, it is labeled treason. That is what treason is.
Right. Now, why do you think that? What is the strategy behind the Bilderbergers taking this, quote, transparency move? They went to a commercial hotel, the Marriott chain, right in the middle of Stockholm. They put on this transparency show. What's that about? Why that strategy?
I think just to correct you, if you don't mind, it was in Copenhagen, Denmark.
Oh, Copenhagen, Denmark. I was thinking about Stockholm for some other reason.
I think they're forced to this point. It was like last year in 2013, that was the first year where they couldn't deny it anymore that they actually existed. So I think they said, they called in all their public relations people and so on. How are we going to deal with this? And they just said, okay, let's just go out totally open. Well, whatever that means. I mean, the parameters are still very secure. Nobody is let in. There's no reporters being allowed to ask questions or get in the building at all. None. So I don't know about this transparency, but they just couldn't deny it anymore.
Yeah.
But this time I think it was even one step further, and I just want to. Thank you so much, Alfred, for being so fast the first night when I...
Oh, sure.
Because I think that if I was correct and other people on a high level when it comes to false flag operations, if my suspicions were right, then you were part of defusing a possible massacre. So I'm very grateful for that.
Oh, good. Well, hallelujah. Let me ask you, what do you think are the policies? I mean, they must come together for some reason. What do you think is that reason for these people to come together this year?
It's their hidden world government, a secret world government who are pulling the strings in the background. They're part of that. And in my opinion, I've studied them for years and years, and they've been active since '54. And I just think it's extremely important to expose what is going on, because they're the ones dragging the world into this very dark and controlled and terrorized society that most of us are living in. At least they're trying to convince us that this is the world we're living in.
For example, did you, as a scholar and researcher in the Kennedy assassination, which occurred in 1963, 9 years after 54, did you find any connections that the Bilderbergers may have discussed the Kennedy assassination prior to the assassination?
No, but I know that Eisenhower, as far as I know, was the president that sort of indirectly approved of the Bilderberg meeting, of the creation of the Bilderbergs. As far as I'm not totally sure about that, but it's, if you study history and you see where the roots come from, with very Nazi connections, the whole power elite that was behind both world wars, I would like to say, and financing both sides, being major financiers of the Hitler war machine through Prescott Bush and also with the whole legal backup with Allen Dulles and his brother John Foster Dulles. They had a lawyer firm that was dealing with Hitler, and these people are so central in the whole thing. I mean, once you start seeing they were part of getting the whole rat line, the Operation Paperclip going, where they exported all of these very hardened Nazis into importing them into the States and into Latin America, later using them to build up the OSS that then turned into the CIA. They used them for their NASA thing, the whole rocket industry, but also banking and so many other areas. Also, when it came to MK Ultra, the whole build-up of MK Ultra was with a lot of these Nazi scientists and so on. So when you start studying how these people were also part of creating the European Union, they created the Bilderberg Group, they created the World Bank, the International Monetary Fund, all of these organizations, NATO, the UN troops and so on, they are the ones behind the whole thing. I'm not saying the Bilderbergs on their own, they're just part of this so-called elite group. They like to call themselves the elite. I would call them the minority, or sometimes I call them the lightless, because I think they're so absorbed by greed and into dark areas. But once you start seeing where the whole thing comes from, yeah, and the agenda, I mean, in my book, Coup d'etat in slow motion, the last 200 pages are just membership lists of Bilderbergers from 54 and onwards. The location, that normally was super secret most of the time, and also the agenda that has come forward. And when you study these agenda, you will see that whatever they were discussing the year before was more or less what happened during the following 12 months. You know, decisions were taken to start wars, to take out people like Margaret Thatcher, to that she was also a Bilderberger, but also to get people in like Bill Clinton or Tony Blair that came. You know, Clinton came from more or less absolute nowhere as quite a low rank drug dealing governor of Arkansas. Then through the connection with George Bush, he was introduced to the Bilderberg Group. They thought that he was appropriate, and boom, his career just skyrocketed, and that's where Hillary comes from as well. So it's a very, very central group in building this, what they call the New World Order, but I think a more appropriate word would be the Fourth Reich, because it's the same mentality behind it, the same methods. They're even doing the exact same steps. So if you study how Hitler came into power, just exchange the name for Obama, see the Reichstag fire, that was 9/11, the Patriot Act, Vaterland, Seguridad, you got all of these things, they just do. Yeah. And now also with, I mean, Hitler had the Hitlerjugend, Obama had this Yes We Can, this whole youth organization, and the FEMA camps, the concentration camps. The parallels are so many.
Yeah, just one technical point, not to get us off track, because I want to follow the other stuff. With regard to Eisenhower, there's another line of research that says, in fact, we have from the inside that it was Nelson it was Nelson Rockefeller who, in fact, was one of the instrumental guys behind the JFK
Yeah.
assassination, who put who made an offer he couldn't refuse to Eisenhower to take the presidency. Eisenhower did not want to get into that. And when Eisenhower got into the presidency, he was heart attacked. He had a number of heart attacks. These were externally caused because then they would bring in Nixon, who was much more of the secret Nixon team. So I just want to state that Eisenhower was they were trying to kill Eisenhower to bring in Nixon in the same way they were trying to kill Reagan to bring in Bush. So yeah, think about that. Now, just to get back here,
I just want to say Eisenhower also was, as far as I know, Prescott Bush was the one that pushed him forward to the position where he could be elected as president.
No, right. So it's that
was funneling the funds to Hitler's war machine, and then the whole they go so it's such a small group that is so sensitive.
It's a small group, but Nelson Rockefeller picked him out as a war hero, and if he would have said no, they would have destroyed him. You see, I mean, this is from the inside of the Eisenhower camp.
Also listen to Eisenhower's goodbye speech, when he said the goodbye farewell as a president. Listen to his words, because he's pointing these guys out
exactly
right on and saying you have to watch out with these guys.
Yeah. So good. Now I just want to get back to this and to really begin to pinpoint the Bilderbergers. Number one, as to what's happening to Americans and to the United States, because I think it was one team pointed out that at an earlier Bilderberger conference, they had agreed to pump and dump the U.S. and really bring down the U.S. economy in 2008 and really, do 9/11 to bring down the U.S. Constitution, and then bring down the U.S. economy in 2008 and set the stage for the FEMA camps now. Do you know what they're planning now? What the next phase is?
I don't know. I think they're getting desperate because it's. I think their plans has failed. They thought that it would be easier to take over the states. It's just like what you said. As far as I've been able to find out, we're talking rape and plunder, totally rape and plunder the country, devastate the whole thing, and then move the headquarters to the east and use the states more or less. I mean, I've even heard rumors about them wanting to turn the whole of the states into one big nature reserve, more or less without people. I have absolutely no idea if that is true, but rape and plunder, that is for sure. But I think it's backfired because there's this great awakening going on. Just the last, you said 2008, just the last 3-4 years, it's just people are popping up everywhere daily, just waking up to the fact that, oh my God, what is going on? And it's so much harder for them now when they're being exposed. I mean, the spotlight is more and more aimed at them, instead of them being able to hide in the dark and being able to pull the strings without being observed.
Yeah. Now there's two questions line of questioning that I'd like to follow up with you on right now. One is that if we go back to 1954, some of the original founders were the what they call the black monarchies, UK monarchy, the Dutch monarchy. All of these are what we call satanic monarchies, in the sense that we have eyewitnesses to them engaging in satanic ritual abuse, where they actually have ceremonies, and these are eyewitnesses where they will take newborn infants and slaughter them, and get into these blood drinking ceremonies. Now they're setting up now a new series of photogenic heirs in Spain. The king just abdicated, and that was supposed to be pressure from his queen. The Dutch monarchy just abdicated. Now they're setting up the queen to abdicate to Prince William because he's young and photogenic. And the younger ones may or may not be as satanically tainted. We don't know if they pass that on. Is that something that came up amongst the crowd there or anything?
Nothing at all, and that is an area I try to avoid because I'm not saying it does not exist. Mm-hmm. On the contrary, I feel very sad to say that as far as I know, these things has occurred. But I tried to stay in my area. I mean, I had to, because this is such a big, this conspiracy is so big, so we need to focus on different areas, and I leave this to other people. Right. Also, because as soon as if you start talking about these things, or if you talk about reptiles like David, people get this blank thing, they shut down.
No,
so
sure.
I stay in my area and keep to what I know, and I don't want to speculate.
Yeah,
but I say my way of seeing this whole thing that is going on, I think the ship is going down, and they know it. So they're trying to jump, the Spanish king now. I think there's going to be a long row shortly that would just say, "Yo, I'm out of here," Let me get out before it's too late.
Now,
because it used to be untouchables, and now they're not.
Yeah. Now
to people like you, thanks to people like you, Alfred.
Well, and you live in Spain. And now there are great demonstrations that they say, no, we're going to have a referendum as to we're going to have a continuation of the monarchy. Do you see things down there like that?
Not at all. Where we live, not at all.
It's calm. You mean,
totally calm.
Yeah.
But this is the thing they do with media. They say, oh my God, there's been an earthquake here,
Yeah.
People call us. I have absolutely no idea. It's totally calm.
I see.
They say there's a big terror thing. I have absolutely no idea. It's absolutely calm. That's the way the media is being used.
I see. Okay, now let's get on to this line of you had mentioned that it was the Bilderbergers who brought in MK Ultra, who brought in this whole line, and now what's being looked at is the HAARP and the chemtrails. And the all of the all of the implants, and the transhumanist agenda, and it looks like the Bilderbergers is really part of the robotization and the mind control of humanity, and they even used a code word for it this year: privacy. That was the big code word. They had, I think, a Dutch politician who was caught on tape by "We Are Change" there. Did that come up at all at the Bilderberger meeting?
I tell you, I was focused. I did non-stop interviews from the minute I came there. It was like non-stop.
Yeah.
And my total focus was first when I suspected this false flag operation. Yeah. I think your listeners have heard about that.
Oh, I see.
And so my whole, first of all, to defuse it so that they wouldn't be able to pull it off, because that had, in one go, they could have demonized the whole truth movement. They could have banned all the rights to demonstrate, to protest. They could have
see.
Internet and all of these things in one go, Do you want me to just go in small details when I came?
Yes, please go ahead.
Because I came the evening before the meeting, and I flew in from Spain. And as soon as I arrived, I asked, can you please take me to the hotel so I can just check out, security, everything, just to see what it looks like, what it normally does. I came to the place, zero protection. There was absolutely no security, nothing. There were 2 Danish police officers. That was it in total, And this is like only 12 hours before. So I was able to walk up all the way almost to the building, and I saw InfoWars went on the backside filming in through the windows, and the whole location was just so bad from a security point of view. There's a whole open channel on the other side, half of Copenhagen, can see the hotel. I mean, if you got a Stinger missile, if that is what you
Right.
are afraid of, you could be anywhere. You know, it's one of the main streets are just passing right next to the hotel, and the whole facade is made of glass, so you can look into the corridors of many of them. So I just didn't get it at all. I was like, what? This is so weird. And since I know these people are maybe not very compassionate people, but many of them are intelligent and they use highly skilled people, I asked myself, why on earth would they pick a place like this? You know, very hard to secure the parameters, it just did not make sense at all. So what I did, I started looking at the location from a different point of view. And I thought first, decoy. Maybe they use it as a decoy so they can get the whole truth movement inside this gated area right in front of the hotel and just keep an eye on us. And then send in some doubles. You know, it's not difficult to imitate Beatrice hairdo. You know, just send in a double with a wig and so on. And then they would meet somewhere else in a castle or, you know, an army base or whatever, you know, more secure. And when I was looking around there, one of the things I also noticed was there were 3 black Mercedes limos parked right outside the entrance, polished, identical, no people around, but it was almost like saying, yes, we're here, we are here because we put the cars here, you know. So I got this eerie feeling that something was wrong. So I started looking around and I noticed that all the buildings around it were insurance companies and bank companies owned by elite members, and police headquarters was right in front behind this open space that is normally used as a parking area. It's made with gravel, you know. So I thought, if you wanted to pull off a false flag, since this is one of the things I specialized in over 30 years, this would be the perfect spot. You get like 2,000-3,000 people in there, truth seekers, on the gravel road. They're fenced in and controlled by the police not being aware of what's going to happen. You send in a few doubles just to say, yeah, hi, we're in here, you know, so people are, and then you have a TV crew, one aerial footage, you got footage from the different buildings around that you control. You got a TV team or film team down the street with a wide angle that can cover both the area where the truth movement is and the hotel from the side. Okay, so then 2,000-3,000 people in there, very nice, gentle people, most of them just peace-seeking, want a better future. But you need to stir it up. So what you do is beforehand you place out some smoke bombs, you place explosives inside the hotel. And then you send in some provocateurs. It's enough with a handful, you know, people in there, start shouting, start throwing things. If that doesn't work, if you can't get the crowd going, then you send in people that are part of the operation, dressed as a Danish police officer. They will then arrest 1 or 2 innocent people, or maybe the people they arrest will also be part of the whole setup. And they will be dragged in front of the fenced area, you know, dragged away screaming, oh! So the whole crowd, the plan is for them to go wild, you know, let him go, you know, the whole thing, get it stirred up. And once that's going, boom, suddenly you just blow out the whole front of the hotel. And by the way, I'm sure if that was the plan, you will see in the insurance policy about a week or 2 before this happened, they would have changed it so that it included terror acts. You blow the whole front of the building out, it will land on top of the truth movement, killing people, you know, blowing them to bits and stuff. You will have, maybe you will sacrifice a couple of old Bilderbergers that you don't need anymore just to get credibility. The rest of the people killed inside the hotel would be like security people from the kitchen or drivers. Yeah. These, if they exist at all. I mean, they have this great habit of putting names there just to make it look good. But and then in one go, they would pump this out to the world, saying, oh my God, this truth movement, they say they are looking for a better world, a peaceful world, and look what they did. They massacred this poor, innocent little elite group that just were meeting for a cup of coffee and a nice chat. Look what they've done, We need to ban all the rights to demonstrate. We need to ban all the rights to speak openly, meet on an open space, more than 8 people at a time. We need to ban the rights to protest. We need to censor the internet, because that is the tool of this group, for your security. So in one go, they could just hit globally on the whole truth movement. So what I did, because I thought, oh my God, it's perfect for this. So I went straight back home. I called up Chip Tatum, who's a former CIA operative, 25 years, deep cover agent. He was a black op assassin. He was part of arranging false flag operations. And he was also George Bush Sr.'s commander for his a hit team called Pegasus that he used for assassinations globally. So he turned a whistleblower in the 90s. He is not an amateur, He is the guy who knows what he's talking about.
Right.
I called him up. I described the whole scenario, or the whole setting, and he said, "This does not look good." He said, "Get out, stay away, be aware of the boxes that could have explosives, or strange sounds or strange people around, and these type of things." So I decided, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? So not wanting to create panic, but still wanting to defuse this if possible, I went out and I spent half the night contacting radio stations like yourself.
Oh, good.
And so on, saying, please record the date and name, the date and time. This is what I fear they're planning. If it should happen, please understand it's not the truth movement. It's an inside job to blame it on them, to blame it on the truth movement, to knock them out. But also, and I went, I don't know how many radio stations, and it was just pumped out globally very fast, So the next day, it was there was absolutely, a handful of limos arriving, because like normally there are about 140 members. It's quite a lot of cars, because they normally come 1 or 2 in each, so you need at least 70 limos. I only saw a handful. Still no security, nothing, very little. There were some people that looked like snipers, but they weren't really on the roofs. They were just looking, hello, we're here type of thing. And then in the afternoon, as far as I know, they sent out a general jogging to be photographed, so that just saying, but we are in here. And then he went back in. Then in the afternoon, when all of this thing had I think if it was true what I suspected, then they would go from plan A to plan B, saying, then they needed to make the alibi, that no, we were in there, we would have been blown up if this had been true. So suddenly all of these limos started arriving. Suddenly there were military coverage. Suddenly there were NATO soldiers on the backside. Suddenly there were snipers. Suddenly there were army helicopters going really low on, and massive police surveillance.
And when you say suddenly,
it was within hours in the afternoon.
That is within the afternoon of the first day.
Yeah, but I noticed this the day before, the evening before. So it did not make sense at all. They should have been there with bomb sniffing dogs. They should have been.
So this adds credibility to what you're saying.
And can I tell you what I was met with the morning I arrived on the first day?
Yeah.
I came there, and I was one of the first. And right in the middle of this open space where the truth movement was supposed to meet, fenced in, there was a massive big pentagram made of train sleepers. We're talking like 5-6 meters in diameter. It was massive, And could you imagine it? There were actually 2 of them. The other one was made with traffic cones, tape, and then in the middle they put a grill, like a barbecue grill. But as well as I, sometimes this elite group, they use with a fire symbol inside the pentagram. I mean, this is really powerful. Could you imagine these images being sent out all over the world with a pentagram, dead bodies, smoke, demonizing the whole truth movement?
Yeah. Now, Oleg, could I ask you, and probably you have plans to, but could you write this up in an article? please. Because there is so much detail in what you have seen that I think that you're documenting this in the careful way that you document it. And with that detail is going to really be a classic article. We will distribute it. We'll be able to interview you in length with reference to the article. Could you do that, please?
Of course. Maybe I can get it published on Veterans Today or something like that.
Yeah, sure.
So, yeah, for sure.
Thank you.
It's a bit busy at the moment.
No. I know, but I think that historically, now that I understand the chronology and the timetable and the type of evidence that you discovered, I think that history merits that.
Don't you think that this is not just me being paranoid? I mean,
no. Now that I understand the objective evidence that you have documented, I think number one, you're probably correct. You are correct, and B, that is something covert was going on there, and B, that merits being documented and published widely.
And I mean, the only way to find out will down the line because come forward.
Because all future Bilderberger meetings need to be like a warning label.
Yeah.
Danger. You don't know. These things are. This is like a bomb. Danger.
Yeah. No,
because they're now booby trapping the Bilderberger meetings.
I don't know. It was just what I saw. I just felt, my God.
But you have, because both you and I have about 40 years experience in studying false flag operations. So I can reflect back to you that I think that you have documented prima facie evidence that comes to the level of probable cause that yes, there was a covert operation going on there, which appears to be some sort of a false flag.
And I was approached the day after. There was some guy who said, I don't feel good about you. People got afraid and stayed at home and so on. And I said, thank God. Thank God they did, because in the media the day before, or the day on day one, they said there were 2,000-3,000 people there. I was there the whole time. There was maybe 130, 200 maximum. So where did that come from? And that is exactly how they build it up. 2,000-3,000, protested, and also he said that some people got scared. So I said, I'm very sorry to have caused that, but then again, what do you prefer? A bit of an anxious feeling in the tummy, or being blown to bits?
Yeah.
I know.
Well, I know that you have to leave, and we've come to the end of this segment because we have run out of time. But I will leave you with number one, an invitation to come back once you've had a chance to finish this paper. Of course, you can come back anytime with any breaking news. But I would like to leave you with the famous words of the English bard William Shakespeare, or the 7th Earl of Oxford, whoever that was. There is something rotten in Denmark.
The state. I'll tell you. But it was a beautiful experience at the same time. I held my first public speak with one of these bullhorns, something I do not like, but I did, and it ended with about 30 people rushing up, and it ended up in a big group hug. And the Danish police, we defused the whole thing. That was the whole idea, to defuse it, because it was very tense the first day, and it ended up with them walking around with, they came in bulletproof vests the first day. The last day they were relaxed, and they had taped things with the Danish word of love on the back, and I saw police officers also studying, Infowars newspapers, in a dialogue with the people there, you know, because they have no idea who they're protecting. So I think it's so important for them to wake up as well and study, who are you protecting? You're protecting them from us who are paying you for protecting us from people like them, criminals. You know, so, but listen, I would be happy maybe tomorrow or something like that. We could make a second part, just a short one, and
Sure.
because, like you say, you need to shoot off.
Exactly. Well, thank you for your public service, and we will speak soon.
My website is Light on Conspiracies, very hand-picked word, lightonconspiracies.com. And my book is Coup d'etat in slow motion. And once again, thank you, Alfred, for being so fast, you know, to get it out there. I really think that you and a handful of other radio stations just pumped it out there within minutes.
Perfect.
And that just totally destroyed their plans, which I'm very happy to say.
Excellent.
Excellent.
Thank you so much.
You take care.
Okay. Bye-bye.